In moments of betrayal, the pain of discovering a cheating partner can feel overwhelming. Trust, once shattered, leaves behind a void of confusion, anger, and self-doubt. But what if there was a way to rise above this storm with clarity and strength? Enter the timeless wisdom of Stoicism, an ancient philosophy that has guided countless individuals through life's most challenging trials. Stoic philosophers like Marcus Aurelius, Epictetus, and Seneca taught us that while we cannot control the actions of others, we can control our responses. Betrayal doesn't have to break you. Instead, it can be the catalyst for profound growth and transformation. By embracing a Stoic mindset, you can regain your inner peace, rebuild your confidence, and ultimately free yourself from the emotional trap of a cheating partner. In this video, we'll delve into 10 powerful Stoic strategies to help you navigate this difficult time. From accepting reality without denial to mastering emotional detachment and redirecting your energy towards self-improvement, these principles will empower you to take back control of your life. This isn't just about ending or surviving a relationship. It's about discovering your inner strength, redefining your self-worth, and becoming the best version of yourself. Whether you choose to forgive and move forward or walk away and never look back, Stoicism will guide you toward the path of wisdom, resilience, and lasting peace. Stay with us as we uncover the ultimate Stoic strategies to escape the trap of a cheating partner. These timeless lessons are not just survival tactics, but life-changing principles for building a stronger, more empowered you. Let's begin. Number 1. Accept the reality without denial. One of the most challenging yet crucial steps in dealing with the betrayal of a cheating partner is to accept the reality of the situation without falling into denial. Denial may initially feel like a protective shield, helping you avoid the pain of acknowledging the truth. However, in the long run, it only deepens your emotional suffering and delays the healing process. Acceptance does not mean condoning or approving the betrayal. Instead, it is about recognizing the facts as they are, devoid of illusions or wishful thinking. This perspective is deeply rooted in Stoic philosophy, where figures like Marcus Aurelius emphasized the importance of seeing things clearly and confronting life's challenges with courage and honesty. When you accept the reality of infidelity, you allow yourself to break free from the web of self-deception that might keep you tethered to an unhealthy relationship. You stop making excuses for their behavior, stop doubting your instincts, and stop hoping for a change that may never come. Acceptance is an act of self-respect. It affirms your right to live in alignment with truth rather than in the shadows of lies. Denial often stems from fear, the fear of being alone, the fear of losing someone you love, or even the fear of societal judgment. However, living in denial doesn't erase the betrayal. It merely prolongs your suffering. Acknowledging the truth, painful as it may be, is the first step toward liberation. This is where Stoicism's practical wisdom shines. Instead of asking, "Why did this happen to me?" you shift your focus to, "What can I learn from this?" This change in perspective transforms the betrayal into an opportunity for growth. You realize that clinging to illusions only drains your energy and keeps you stuck in a cycle of emotional turmoil. By accepting reality, you regain the power to make decisions rooted in clarity and self-respect. Another key aspect of acceptance is understanding that your partner's actions are a reflection of their choices and values, not your worth. It's easy to internalize blame, asking yourself what you did wrong or how you could have prevented the betrayal. But Stoicism reminds us to separate what is within our control from what is not. Your partner's infidelity is their responsibility, not yours. By accepting this truth, you free yourself from unnecessary guilt and begin to rebuild your self-esteem. This doesn't mean the pain disappears overnight, but it does mean you can start moving forward instead of remaining stuck in a loop of self-blame and doubt. Acceptance also allows you to see the relationship for what it truly is, rather than what you wish it to be. You might have built an idealized image of your partner, focusing on their good qualities while ignoring the red flags. Betrayal forces you to confront the reality that your partner may not be the person you believe them to be. This realization can be devastating, but it's also liberating. It gives you the opportunity to reassess your values, priorities, and boundaries. What do you truly want in a relationship? What are your non-negotiables? By answering these questions with honesty, you set the foundation for healthier relationships in the future. Practicing acceptance requires patience and self-compassion. It's natural to feel anger, sadness, and confusion as you process the betrayal. Stoicism teaches us that emotions are not our enemies. They are signals that guide us toward deeper understanding. However, it also emphasizes the importance of not letting emotions dictate our actions. When you accept the reality of infidelity, you can observe your emotions without being overwhelmed by them. You learn to respond rather than react, making choices that align with your long-term well-being instead of succumbing to impulsive decisions driven by anger or fear. In conclusion, accepting the reality of a cheating partner is not about giving up or resigning yourself to pain. It's about taking the first step toward freedom and growth. It's about reclaiming your power and refusing to live in a state of denial that only prolongs your suffering. Stoicism offers a roadmap for this journey, encouraging you to confront the truth with courage, clarity, and resilience. By embracing reality as it is, you free yourself from the chains of illusion and open the door to healing and transformation. Acceptance is not the end. It is the beginning of a new chapter, one where you are no longer a victim of circumstances, but the author of your own story. Number 2. Detach emotionally from the betrayal. Emotional detachment from betrayal is not about becoming cold or indifferent. It's about reclaiming control over your emotions and no longer allowing the actions of a cheating partner to dictate your mental and emotional state. In the face of infidelity, our initial reactions are often intense, ranging from anger and heartbreak to humiliation and despair. While these emotions are natural, they can also trap us in a cycle of suffering if we allow them to dominate our thoughts and decisions. Emotional detachment, as advocated by Stoic philosophers like Epictetus, is a powerful tool for breaking free from this cycle. It involves acknowledging your emotions without being controlled by them, creating a space where you can respond to the betrayal with clarity and intention rather than impulsive reactions. Detachment doesn't mean suppressing your feelings. Instead, it means observing them from a distance, understanding their source, and recognizing that they do not define you. This mindset enables you to protect your inner peace, even in the midst of turmoil. The core of emotional detachment lies in the Stoic principle of focusing on what is within your control and letting go of what is not. Your partner's betrayal is a choice they made, an action entirely outside your control. Dwelling on questions like, "Why did they do this?" or "What could I have done differently?" only amplifies your pain because it keeps you fixated on aspects of the situation you cannot change. Detachment requires a shift in perspective. Instead of seeking answers or closure from your partner, you turn inward to find strength and resolve. By doing so, you reclaim your emotional autonomy. This doesn't mean you won't feel hurt, but it does mean you'll no longer be consumed by it. You'll begin to see the betrayal as an event in your life, not the defining narrative of who you are. One effective way to cultivate emotional detachment is by reframing the situation through the lens of Stoicism. Betrayal can feel deeply personal, But in truth, it reflects your partner's character, not your value. Epictetus taught that external events are neutral. It is our judgments about them that cause distress. For example, if you interpret the betrayal as a reflection of your inadequacy, you'll feel unworthy and ashamed. But if you view it as a sign of your partner's shortcomings and poor choices, you'll begin to distance yourself from the pain. This shift in perspective allows you to detach emotionally, focusing instead on your own growth and well-being. By refusing to internalize the betrayal, you prevent it from taking root in your self-perception. You acknowledge the hurt, but you do not let it consume you. Detachment also involves setting boundaries, both physical and emotional. This might mean limiting contact with your partner or creating space to process your feelings without their interference. When boundaries are in place, you gain the clarity needed to evaluate the relationship and decide your next steps without being clouded by their justifications or manipulations. Boundaries are an act of self-respect, signaling that you will no longer tolerate behavior that compromises your peace of mind. They also provide a protective buffer, allowing you to heal without constantly revisiting the pain. Detaching emotionally doesn't mean shutting out love or hope. It means prioritizing your well-being and refusing to let betrayal dictate the terms of your life. Another essential component of emotional detachment is forgiveness, not necessarily for your partner, but for yourself. Many people blame themselves for not noticing the signs of infidelity or for staying in a relationship that turned toxic. This self-blame only deepens the emotional wound. Forgiving yourself is a crucial step in detachment, as it frees you from guilt and allows you to move forward with compassion for your own imperfections. It's a way of acknowledging that you did the best you could with the knowledge and resources you had at the time. In doing so, you release the hold that regret and self-doubt have on your emotions. Practicing mindfulness can further support emotional detachment. By staying present and focusing on the here and now, you avoid being pulled into the endless loop of what-ifs and if-onlys. Mindfulness teaches you to observe your thoughts and emotions without judgment, creating a space where you can process them healthily. For instance, when feelings of anger or sadness arise, instead of suppressing them or letting them take over, you can acknowledge them and let them pass. This practice aligns with the Stoic idea that while emotions are inevitable, they do not have to control us. By cultivating mindfulness, you build the resilience needed to face the betrayal with grace and composure. Ultimately, emotional detachment is an act of liberation. It's about refusing to let the betrayal define your worth or dictate your future. It's about reclaiming your inner peace and focusing on what truly matters: your growth, your values, and your happiness. The path to detachment may be challenging, but it is also empowering. As you learn to let go of the emotional weight of betrayal, you create space for healing, clarity, and renewal. You move from being a victim of your partner's actions to being the architect of your own life. This transformation is not only a testament to your resilience, but also a powerful affirmation of your ability to rise above life's challenges with strength and dignity. Number 3. Avoid emotional outbursts. One of the most difficult yet essential aspects of navigating the aftermath of a cheating partner is avoiding emotional outbursts. When faced with betrayal, it's natural to feel a surge of powerful emotions: rage, hurt, confusion, and even shame. The impulse to lash out, yell, or even cry uncontrollably can feel overwhelming in the heat of the moment. However, Stoic philosophy teaches us that while emotions are natural and inevitable, our response to them is entirely within our control. By learning to manage our emotional reactions, we prevent ourselves from making rash decisions or saying things we may regret later, and instead, we maintain a sense of dignity and self-control, This is particularly important when dealing with betrayal, as emotional outbursts can lead to long-term consequences that only compound the pain. Emotional outbursts often arise from the desire for immediate release, an urge to rid ourselves of the intense emotions that have built up inside. While expressing feelings is important, Stoicism emphasizes the value of restraint and measured responses. Marcus Aurelius, one of the most influential Stoic philosophers, advised us to examine our emotions before reacting, asking whether they are in alignment with reason and virtue. Instead of letting emotions dictate our actions, Stoicism encourages us to pause, reflect, and choose a course of action that is in our best interest, rather than responding impulsively. In the case of betrayal, this might mean refraining from confronting the person in a fit of anger or posting inflammatory comments on social media out of frustration. While these reactions might provide temporary relief, they are unlikely to help you heal in the long run and can even lead to greater regret or damage to your reputation. The Stoics believed that we are responsible for our own emotions and that it is not external circumstances or the actions of others that cause us distress, but rather how we interpret those events. In the case of infidelity, while the betrayal itself may not be within your control, your reaction to it is. If you allow your emotions to dictate your behavior, you may find yourself caught in a cycle of reactionary actions, whether that means engaging in arguments, sending accusatory messages, or seeking revenge. Such outbursts often exacerbate the situation and cloud your judgment, making it difficult to move forward. Instead, by practicing emotional restraint, you create the mental and emotional space to respond from a place of clarity and wisdom. One effective Stoic practice for avoiding emotional outbursts is mindfulness. By becoming more aware of your emotional state and recognizing when you're starting to feel overwhelmed, you can pause before reacting. This moment of pause allows you to check in with yourself and ask, how do I want to respond? Rather than being carried away by the wave of anger or hurt, you can consciously choose a response that aligns with your values and long-term goals. This practice helps you avoid knee-jerk reactions and ensures that your actions are deliberate and purposeful rather than impulsive. Another important Stoic practice is negative visualization, the idea of imagining the worst-case scenario and accepting it as a possibility. While this may sound counterintuitive, it can actually help you prepare emotionally for the unexpected and diminish the intensity of your reaction when things don't go as planned. In the case of infidelity, negative visualization might involve imagining the pain of being betrayed, but accepting that this is a part of life. By acknowledging that painful things can happen, you are less likely to be swept away by emotions when they do. Instead, you become better equipped to handle the situation calmly and rationally, without the need for emotional outbursts. Moreover, Stoicism teaches the importance of emotional resilience, bouncing back from hardship without being knocked off balance. This resilience is cultivated by practicing self-control and not allowing ourselves to be slaves to our feelings. In the aftermath of betrayal, this means not allowing your anger or sadness to define you. Instead of spiraling into self-pity or seeking external validation through emotional reactions, Stoicism encourages you to take ownership of your emotional state. This internal focus enables you to move forward with greater strength, rather than allowing the actions of others to dominate your life. Number 4. Evaluate your partner's character. Objectively. When faced with the painful reality of infidelity, one of the most difficult yet crucial steps in healing is evaluating your partner's character objectively. In the aftermath of betrayal, emotions often cloud our judgment, making it difficult to assess the situation from a rational standpoint. Anger, confusion, and hurt can distort our perceptions, leading us to either vilify our partner entirely or to downplay their actions in an attempt to preserve the relationship. Stoic philosophy, however, encourages us to evaluate situations based on reason and virtue, rather than succumbing to emotional reactions. By objectively assessing your partner's character, you gain clarity on their true nature, which empowers you to make informed decisions about how to move forward, whether that means repairing the relationship or moving on with your life. The first step in evaluating your partner's character objectively is to detach from the emotional turmoil that infidelity often stirs. As hard as it may seem, it is essential to momentarily step back from the raw emotions of betrayal to look at the situation without the lens of personal hurt. Epictetus, a key Stoic philosopher, teaches that our judgments about external events, not the events themselves, are the root of our suffering. In the case of infidelity, the act itself is painful, but it is our emotional reaction to it that shapes how we process it. If we can detach from the immediate emotional pain and look at the situation with clarity, we can begin to evaluate the true nature of the person who betrayed us. Objectivity involves recognizing your partner's actions as a reflection of their character, rather than assigning blame to external circumstances. For example, it's easy to fall into the trap of thinking, "They wouldn't have cheated if I were a better partner," or "if only I had done something differently." These thoughts are unproductive because they shift the focus away from the true source of the betrayal, your partner's choices. Stoicism encourages us to focus on what is within our control, which in this case means examining how your partner's actions reflect their integrity, honesty, and values. The act of infidelity is a choice your partner made, and it speaks to their lack of respect for the relationship, regardless of any external factors. One key aspect of objective evaluation is understanding that people's actions are often driven by their character, not situational pressures. It can be tempting to believe that a partner cheated because of external stress, unmet needs, or other factors outside their control. While it is possible that external influences played a role, Stoic philosophy teaches us to look beyond justifications and excuses. People who lack virtue, such as honesty, loyalty, and integrity, will act in ways that reflect those shortcomings regardless of external circumstances. Therefore, it's important to assess your partner's character based on their behavior over time, not just the betrayal in isolation. Have they shown patterns of dishonesty or lack of respect in the past? Are they consistent in their actions, or have there been red flags of selfishness or a lack of empathy? By honestly answering these questions, you begin to understand whether this betrayal is part of a broader pattern of behavior or an isolated incident. Another critical aspect of evaluating your partner objectively is recognizing the importance of self-reflection. While their actions are not your fault, Stoicism encourages us to reflect on our own role in any situation. This doesn't mean taking responsibility for their betrayal, but rather asking ourselves if we overlooked certain behaviors or ignored red flags. Were there signs of emotional distance, dishonesty, or other unhealthy patterns that we failed to address? This self-reflection is not about blaming yourself, but rather about becoming more aware of your own role in the dynamics of the relationship. It helps you avoid falling into the trap of idealizing your partner or ignoring behaviors that should have been addressed earlier. By doing so, you maintain the clarity needed to make wise decisions about whether to continue the relationship or to move on. In Stoic terms, evaluating your partner's character objectively also involves accepting the reality of their choices. Marcus Aurelius reminds us that we cannot control the actions of others, but we can control our responses. If your partner has shown themselves to be untrustworthy or lacking in integrity, you must accept this truth without delusion or denial. It's essential to recognize that people's character is revealed through their actions, not their words. If your partner has betrayed you, no amount of excuses or promises of change can alter the fact that their behavior showed a lack of respect and commitment. While people are capable of growth, the reality of their actions cannot be ignored. In this sense, the Stoic approach encourages you to view the betrayal as a reflection of your partner's character, not as a personal attack on you. Once you have objectively assessed your partner's character, you gain the power to decide how to move forward. Stoicism teaches us that our primary responsibility is to maintain our own virtue and integrity, regardless of the actions of others. If your partner's betrayal has shown them to lack these qualities, you must decide whether their presence in your life aligns with your own values and standards. It may mean choosing to end the relationship in order to preserve your own well-being, or it may involve confronting the betrayal in a calm, measured way to determine whether reconciliation is possible. In either case, the key is to make your decision based on reason and virtue, not based on emotional impulses or the desire to avoid pain. Number 5. Understand the temporary nature of relationships. One of the most powerful insights from Stoic philosophy is the understanding of the temporary nature of all things, including relationships. Nothing in life is permanent, and this truth can be both liberating and painful, especially in the context of a betrayal or a difficult relationship. Stoicism teaches that everything is subject to change, whether it's the seasons, our health, or our connections with others. When we accept this fundamental truth, we are better equipped to navigate the pain of infidelity, loss, or relationship struggles. Understanding that relationships, no matter how deep or meaningful, are ultimately transient helps to minimize the emotional suffering that arises when these connections end or undergo significant challenges. The impermanence of relationships is not a pessimistic view, but rather a realistic one that allows us to embrace life more fully and prepare for inevitable changes. Marcus Aurelius, one of the great Stoic philosophers, often reflected on the transient nature of life, reminding himself that everything he experiences, including people, is temporary. His meditations include reminders that people come and go, and that we should not cling to them in an unhealthy way. Relationships, like all aspects of life, are not meant to last forever, and by acknowledging this, we can more gracefully accept their ebb and flow. This Stoic perspective helps us detach from the belief that our happiness or sense of self-worth is dependent on the permanence of a relationship. Instead, we realize that the value of relationships lies not in their duration, but in the moments shared and the growth they inspire. When we face betrayal or heartbreak, the pain is often exacerbated by the belief that we've lost something that was meant to last. This attachment to the idea of permanence can lead to a feeling of devastation when things change. However, Stoicism teaches us that the nature of all relationships is inherently fleeting, and this is not a reflection of our worth or the value of the connection itself. Rather, it is a reminder that the only true constant in life is change. Whether a relationship lasts a year, a decade, or a lifetime, its eventual end is simply part of the natural flow of life. This understanding helps to soften the blow of betrayal or loss, allowing us to accept that the end of a relationship is not a personal failure, but a part of the human experience. By accepting the temporary nature of relationships, we begin to shift our perspective from one of possession and attachment to one of appreciation and gratitude. We can cherish the moments we shared with our partner without clinging to the idea that the relationship must continue forever in order to be meaningful. In the case of infidelity, this mindset allows us to view the betrayal not as the loss of something irreplaceable, but as the end of a chapter that no longer serves us. This shift in perspective can help us detach emotionally and regain our sense of self-worth, instead of tying our value to the relationship itself. We are reminded that our worth does not depend on the actions or approval of others, but on our ability to live according to our own principles and values. Another important aspect of understanding the temporary nature of relationships is that it allows us to let go of unhealthy attachments. When we become too attached to the idea of a relationship lasting forever, we may overlook red flags or tolerate behavior that does not align with our values, simply because we fear the relationship ending. The Stoic approach encourages us to focus on the present moment and the qualities that define the relationship, rather than clinging to an idealized version of the future. In relationships, this means acknowledging when it's time to move on. If betrayal or dishonesty is part of the relationship dynamic, understanding that relationships are temporary allows us to let go of the attachment to a person or situation that no longer serves us, knowing that there are many opportunities for personal growth and new connections ahead. This Stoic understanding also helps us cultivate resilience in the face of adversity. Relationships are not always smooth, and they can often involve conflict, hurt, or betrayal. When we understand that these challenges are part of the temporary nature of the relationship, we are better equipped to handle them without being overwhelmed by emotions. Instead of viewing conflict or betrayal as an unbearable loss, we can approach it with a sense of perspective, seeing it as an opportunity for growth or a lesson in what we need and deserve in our future relationships. This resilient mindset allows us to accept the reality of change rather than resist it, and helps us to grow stronger through our experiences. Furthermore, embracing the temporary nature of relationships frees us from the fear of loss. If we understand that no relationship, no matter how deep or meaningful, is guaranteed to last forever, we can approach each connection with a sense of appreciation for what it is, rather than a desperate need for it to last. This appreciation for the present moment helps us to enjoy the relationship fully, without the anxiety of worrying about its future. Even if a relationship does come to an end, whether through betrayal, distance, or natural life changes, we can accept that it has fulfilled its purpose for that time and be grateful for the experiences and lessons it provided. Number 6. Focus on your self-worth. In the aftermath of betrayal or a challenging relationship, it can be easy to lose sight of your self-worth. The pain of infidelity or rejection can make you question your value, leading to feelings of inadequacy, doubt, and emotional turmoil. However, Stoic philosophy teaches us that our self-worth should never be defined by the actions or opinions of others. Instead, it is built on our own character, integrity, and ability to live in accordance with our values. Understanding and focusing on your self-worth is essential for healing, personal growth, and moving forward in a healthy and empowered way after a betrayal. The first step in focusing on your self-worth is recognizing that your value is inherent and independent of external circumstances. It is easy to fall into the trap of believing that our worth is contingent upon how others perceive us, how much love we receive, or how successful we are in our relationships. When a partner betrays you, it can feel like a personal attack on your worthiness, leading you to believe that you somehow deserve the betrayal or that you are unworthy of love and respect. However, Stoicism teaches that our worth does not come from external sources, but from our own internal virtues. According to Epictetus, it is not things themselves that disturb us, but our judgments about them. In this case, your self-worth should not be dictated by the actions of others, but by your own ability to maintain your principles and character, regardless of external circumstances. To focus on your self-worth, it's important to reconnect with who you truly are and the values that define you. Take time to reflect on your strengths, virtues, and achievements. What qualities do you value in yourself? What are your core beliefs, And how do you live in alignment with them? By grounding yourself in these values, you can start to separate your identity from the relationship or situation that caused you pain. Your self-worth should not fluctuate based on the opinions of others or the state of a relationship, but rather on your ability to remain true to yourself and act with integrity, kindness, and courage. One of the core principles of Stoic philosophy is the concept of self-control, particularly over our emotions and reactions. When you focus on your self-worth, you empower yourself to take control of your emotional responses and to avoid being swept away by the tides of betrayal, hurt, or rejection. While it's natural to feel hurt when someone betrays you, Stoicism teaches us that we have the power to choose how we respond. By focusing on what is within our control, our thoughts, actions, and reactions, we can maintain our sense of self-worth even in the face of adversity. This means acknowledging the hurt, but not allowing it to define us or diminish our value. Instead of internalizing the betrayal and allowing it to chip away at your self-esteem, you can choose to rise above the pain by remaining grounded in your virtues and the recognition that your worth is not dependent on the behavior of others. Another critical aspect of focusing on your self-worth is practicing self-compassion. Stoicism emphasizes the importance of treating ourselves with the same kindness and understanding that we offer others. It's easy to be harsh on yourself after experiencing betrayal, thinking that you should have seen the signs or done something differently. However, such self-criticism is counterproductive. Rather than focusing on self-blame, practice self-compassion by acknowledging that you are human and that mistakes or difficulties are part of the experience of life. Being kind to yourself, especially in times of pain, allows you to heal and rebuild your self-worth from a place of self-love rather than self-recrimination. As Marcus Aurelius wisely said, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one." This applies to your own sense of self-worth. Focus on being the person you admire and respect, regardless of the pain or betrayal you've experienced. Another important part of focusing on your self-worth is setting healthy boundaries. When you recognize your own value, you no longer tolerate behavior that undermines your dignity or self-respect. Setting boundaries is an act of self-respect, and it is crucial for maintaining your self-worth, especially after a betrayal. This might mean ending the relationship or distancing yourself from people who disrespect you. By doing so, you send a clear message to yourself and others that your worth is not negotiable and that you are unwilling to compromise your integrity for the sake of others' actions. Setting boundaries allows you to protect your emotional well-being and ensures that you only engage in relationships that nurture and support your sense of self-worth. Building your self-worth also involves prioritizing self-care and personal growth. This could mean taking time to engage in activities that bring you joy, peace, and fulfillment, whether that's pursuing hobbies, cultivating new skills, or focusing on physical health. Engaging in practices that nurture your mind, body, and soul helps you reconnect with your inner strength and reinforces the message that your worth is not dependent on anyone else's approval or validation. By focusing on your own growth and well-being, you reinforce your sense of self-worth and create a foundation for a healthier and more fulfilling future. Furthermore, focusing on your self-worth means learning from the experience of betrayal and using it as an opportunity for growth. Stoicism encourages us to view every challenge, no matter how painful, as an opportunity to practice virtue and resilience. Betrayal, while painful, can teach us valuable lessons about our own values, boundaries, and the qualities we seek in relationships. By reflecting on what the experience has taught you, you can grow stronger and more self-assured, knowing that your worth is rooted in your ability to learn and grow, no matter what life throws your way. Number 7. Set boundaries and take action. Setting boundaries is a crucial aspect of maintaining your emotional health, especially after experiencing betrayal or a difficult relationship. Stoicism teaches that while we cannot control the actions of others, we have complete control over how we respond, and this control extends to the boundaries we set in our lives. Boundaries are essential for preserving our well-being, and they are a clear statement of our self-worth, ensuring that we do not tolerate disrespect or betrayal. When we face infidelity or emotional harm, the Stoic approach encourages us to take decisive action, not out of anger or resentment, but with wisdom and clarity, to protect our peace of mind and safeguard our future. The first step in setting boundaries is recognizing the importance of protecting yourself emotionally and mentally. When we allow others to cross our boundaries, whether consciously or unconsciously, we enable them to dictate our emotional responses. Betrayal, for example, can be an incredibly painful experience, and if we do not establish clear boundaries, we risk becoming overwhelmed by the emotional impact. Stoicism teaches us that we must take responsibility for our own emotional state and not allow external events to control our inner peace. By setting boundaries, we take control over how we engage with others and what behaviors we are willing to tolerate. Boundaries are a reflection of our values and standards, and they serve as a protective mechanism to preserve our dignity and self-respect. Setting boundaries means identifying what is acceptable to us and what is not. After experiencing betrayal, it is essential to clarify what behaviors or actions we are unwilling to accept from others moving forward. This could include things like dishonesty, disrespect, manipulation, or emotional neglect. Clearly defining these boundaries helps us to make conscious choices about who we allow into our lives and how we interact with them. For example, if a partner has betrayed your trust, setting a boundary may involve choosing not to engage in further communication until there has been accountability and healing. This boundary protects your emotional health and helps prevent further harm. The Stoic perspective reminds us that we are not obliged to remain in toxic or harmful situations, and we have the right to take action in response to behaviors that compromise our well-being. Taking action in setting boundaries also involves communicating them clearly and assertively. Stoicism teaches us that we should not passively accept mistreatment, nor should we react impulsively or out of anger. Instead, we should act from a place of calmness, clarity, and reason. Communicating your boundaries in a straightforward and respectful manner demonstrates that you value yourself and expect to be treated with the same level of respect. It is essential to be firm in your communication and follow through with the boundaries you set. For instance, if your partner has been unfaithful, you may choose to communicate that trust has been broken, and for the relationship to continue, both parties need to commit to honesty and transparency moving forward. If these conditions are not met, the boundary may be that the relationship must end. By acting on your boundaries, you show yourself the respect you deserve and set a standard for how you expect to be treated. Another important element of setting boundaries is ensuring that you follow through with them. Setting boundaries is not just about identifying what you are unwilling to tolerate, but also about taking the necessary steps to protect yourself when those boundaries are violated. For example, if someone repeatedly disrespects your boundaries, whether through dishonesty or manipulation, it may be necessary to distance yourself from that person. This could involve limiting contact, seeking space for healing, or even ending the relationship altogether. Taking action requires strength and courage, as it often means facing the discomfort of confrontation or the fear of being alone. However, Stoicism teaches us that it is far better to act in alignment with our values, even when it is difficult, than to stay in a harmful situation out of fear, attachment, or uncertainty. Setting boundaries also involves recognizing when a situation is no longer serving you and making the necessary decision to move on. Stoicism encourages us to practice detachment, not in a cold or uncaring way, but as a means of protecting our inner peace. If a relationship or situation continues to cause harm or betrayal, the Stoic approach advises us to let go of our attachment to the outcome and choose to move forward. This means making the active decision to remove ourselves from environments or relationships that no longer align with our values, regardless of how painful or challenging it may be. By setting this boundary, we reclaim our power and take control of our future. In addition to protecting ourselves from harm, setting boundaries also involves creating space for healing and self-care. After experiencing betrayal or emotional hurt, it is essential to take time for introspection, self-compassion, and healing. This might mean taking a break from romantic relationships, distancing yourself from negative influences, or engaging in activities that nourish your mind, body, and soul. The Stoic approach emphasizes the importance of cultivating inner peace and resilience, and boundaries are an essential tool in this process. By setting boundaries that protect our emotional and mental health, we create an environment that supports our healing and growth. Setting boundaries is not a one-time action, but an ongoing practice. Life and relationships are dynamic, and our boundaries may evolve as we grow and change. The Stoic practice of self-reflection allows us to continually assess our boundaries and adjust them as needed. Regularly checking in with ourselves ensures that we remain aligned with our values and that we continue to protect our well-being in all aspects of our lives. Number 8. Embrace solitude for reflection. In the aftermath of betrayal or emotional turmoil, embracing solitude can be one of the most powerful ways to regain clarity, heal, and reconnect with your inner strength. Stoicism teaches that reflection and introspection are vital tools for personal growth and self-discovery, especially during challenging times. While the impulse may be to seek validation or comfort from others, true healing and understanding often come from within. By embracing solitude, we create a space for reflection that allows us to process our emotions, understand our responses, and develop the wisdom to move forward in a healthier and more empowered way. The first step in embracing solitude is recognizing its importance as a time for self-reflection. In today's fast-paced world, we are often surrounded by distractions and external influences, making it difficult to hear our own thoughts or assess our emotional state. After a betrayal, it's easy to become overwhelmed by the need for answers or reassurance from others. However, Stoic philosophers like Seneca and Marcus Aurelius remind us that true peace comes from within, and we must take the time to examine our own thoughts, actions, and emotions before seeking external validation. Solitude allows us to step away from the noise of the world and tune into our own inner wisdom. By doing so, we give ourselves the opportunity to understand the situation more objectively without being clouded by the emotions or opinions of others. Solitude also provides the space needed to process the pain of betrayal without being swept up in impulsive reactions or emotional outbursts. The Stoic approach emphasizes the importance of emotional regulation and self-control, particularly in the face of adversity. When we are alone, we have the opportunity to feel the full range of emotions, from anger to sadness to confusion, without fear of judgment or further harm. This emotional release is essential for healing, as it allows us to confront the pain head-on rather than suppressing or ignoring it. Rather than reacting out of impulse or resentment, solitude gives us the time and space to process our feelings and respond in a measured, thoughtful way. Through reflection, we can gain a deeper understanding of our emotions, identify where our reactions are coming from, and develop a more balanced and rational perspective. In addition to processing emotions, solitude enables us to evaluate the situation from a place of objectivity. Betrayal can cloud our judgment, leading us to make decisions based on our pain rather than our principles. When we embrace solitude, we can step back from the emotional turmoil and assess the situation with greater clarity. This process of reflection allows us to ask difficult questions about the relationship or situation, such as, what led to this betrayal? Were there red flags I ignored? How can I learn from this experience? By taking the time to answer these questions, we gain valuable insights that can guide our future actions and help us grow stronger from the experience. Solitude allows us to detach from the emotional chaos and view the situation from a more logical, objective standpoint, ultimately helping us make more informed and intentional decisions. Moreover, embracing solitude offers an opportunity for self-reliance and personal growth. Stoicism teaches that we are the architects of our own happiness and well-being. By spending time alone, we reconnect with ourselves and reaffirm our ability to handle challenges independently. Rather than depending on others for reassurance or comfort, we learn to trust in our own resilience and wisdom. This self-reliance strengthens our sense of self-worth and autonomy, empowering us to face future challenges with confidence. Solitude is not a sign of weakness, but rather an opportunity to build inner strength, cultivate self-discipline, and reaffirm our values. It allows us to become more comfortable with who we are, free from the need for external approval or validation. Another benefit of embracing solitude is the ability to realign with our values and priorities. Betrayal often leaves us questioning our judgment, our decisions, and even our worth. During times of solitude, we have the space to reflect on what truly matters to us and what we want to prioritize moving forward. This process of realignment helps us reconnect with our core values and ensure that we are living in accordance with them. By reflecting on what is most important in life, whether it be integrity, loyalty, or personal growth, we are better able to navigate future relationships and situations with a clearer sense of purpose. Solitude gives us the time to evaluate where we may have strayed from our values and how we can realign ourselves with a path that feels more authentic and true to who we are. Embracing solitude also fosters mindfulness and presence. In a world where distractions are abundant, it is easy to get caught up in the past or the future, constantly ruminating on past betrayals or worrying about what might happen next. Solitude provides an opportunity to ground ourselves in the present moment, allowing us to let go of regrets and anxieties. By focusing on the here and now, we can begin to heal and rebuild without the weight of past wounds or future uncertainties. Stoicism teaches us that we should not be disturbed by what is outside of our control, and solitude helps us cultivate the mindfulness necessary to remain focused on what truly matters in the present moment. Additionally, the practice of solitude enables us to embrace the concept of voluntary hardship, a central Stoic principle. By choosing to spend time alone, we allow ourselves to face the discomfort of solitude without resorting to avoidance or escapism. This voluntary hardship builds resilience and fortitude as we learn to be at peace with ourselves and our circumstances. In solitude, we can confront our fears, insecurities, and emotional wounds without distraction or interference, leading to profound personal growth. The Stoics believed that adversity is an opportunity to practice virtue, and embracing solitude in times of difficulty provides the perfect opportunity to develop the virtues of courage, patience, and wisdom. Number 9. Seek inner peace through forgiveness. Optional. Forgiveness is a concept that many struggle with, especially in the wake of betrayal. Yet, from a Stoic perspective, It is a powerful tool for achieving inner peace and reclaiming control over one's emotions. Forgiveness is not about condoning or excusing the actions of those who have wronged us, nor is it about reconciliation, unless that aligns with our values. Instead, forgiveness is an act of self-liberation. It is a choice to let go of the anger, resentment, and pain that can consume us after betrayal. By seeking forgiveness, we free ourselves from the mental and emotional chains that keep us tethered to the wrongdoing. Forgiveness, then, becomes an act of empowerment, one that allows us to rise above the situation and move forward with clarity and dignity. The Stoics teach us to focus only on what is within our control, and holding on to anger or bitterness is counterproductive. When we refuse to forgive, we allow the actions of another person to dictate our emotional state, effectively giving them power over us. This emotional entanglement keeps us anchored in the past, revisiting the pain of betrayal repeatedly in our minds. Marcus Aurelius reminds us in Meditations that it is not the actions of others that harm us, but our own judgments about those actions. Forgiveness is a means of altering our judgments and reframing the situation. By choosing to forgive, we are not saying that the betrayal was acceptable, but rather that we will no longer allow it to hold sway over our thoughts, emotions, or actions. This choice grants us the freedom to reclaim our peace and focus on what truly matters. One of the most significant barriers to forgiveness is the misconception that it is a weakness or a sign of defeat. In reality, forgiveness is an act of immense strength and self-mastery. It requires us to confront our pain and anger head-on, rather than burying or ignoring it. Forgiveness demands introspection and emotional courage, as we must face the parts of ourselves that have been wounded and work to heal them. The Stoics viewed forgiveness as a virtue because it reflects our ability to rise above pettiness and respond to adversity with wisdom and compassion. To forgive is to demonstrate that our sense of self-worth and emotional equilibrium are not dictated by external events, but are rooted in our own inner strength. Forgiveness also aligns with the Stoic principle of understanding human nature. People make mistakes, act out of ignorance, or are driven by their own flawed reasoning. When someone betrays us, it is often a reflection of their own weaknesses, fears, or misguided values, rather than a deliberate attack on us as individuals. By understanding this, we can begin to depersonalize the betrayal and view it with greater objectivity. As Epictetus reminds us, we cannot control the actions of others, but we can control how we interpret and respond to those actions. Forgiveness, then, is an exercise in recognizing the humanity of others, accepting their imperfections, and choosing not to let their actions dictate our emotional state. Another critical aspect of forgiveness is its role in breaking the cycle of pain and resentment. Holding on to anger often leads to a desire for revenge or retribution, which only perpetuates the harm and keeps us entangled in the situation. Forgiveness, on the other hand, is a way of releasing ourselves from this cycle. It allows us to redirect our energy toward more constructive and fulfilling pursuits, rather than wasting it on resentment or bitterness. When we forgive, we reclaim the mental and emotional resources that would otherwise be consumed by thoughts of the betrayal. This shift in focus enables us to move forward with greater clarity and purpose, leaving the pain of the past behind. Forgiveness does not mean forgetting or ignoring the lessons learned from the betrayal. On the contrary, it is a way of integrating those lessons into our lives without being weighed down by negative emotions. By forgiving, we acknowledge what has happened, accept it as part of our journey, and use it to grow stronger and wiser. This process of reflection and growth is central to the Stoic approach to adversity. Every challenge, including betrayal, is an opportunity to practice virtue and cultivate resilience. Forgiveness is a way of transforming pain into wisdom, turning a difficult experience into a stepping stone for personal development. Practicing forgiveness can also bring profound benefits to our mental and physical health. Studies have shown that holding on to anger and resentment can increase stress, elevate blood pressure, and contribute to a host of other health problems. Forgiveness, on the other hand, has been linked to lower stress levels, improved mental well-being, and even greater longevity. From a Stoic perspective, this makes sense. Emotions like anger and resentment are disturbances of the mind, and by letting them go, we restore a sense of harmony and balance. Forgiveness is not just an ethical or philosophical choice. It is a practical one that supports our overall well-being. To seek inner peace through forgiveness, it can be helpful to engage in reflective practices such as journaling, meditation, or prayer. These practices provide a safe space to explore our emotions, confront our pain, and gradually release the hold that anger and resentment have on us. By dedicating time to these practices, we create a pathway to healing and self-liberation. Additionally, it can be helpful to remind ourselves of the impermanence of all things, including the pain of betrayal. The Stoics often emphasized the transient nature of life's difficulties, and forgiveness is a way of acknowledging that we do not need to carry the burden of past hurts indefinitely. Number 10. Redirect your energy towards growth. When betrayal shatters your trust and leaves you questioning the foundation of your relationship, one of the most empowering steps you can take is to redirect your energy toward growth. Betrayal, while painful, also provides an opportunity to reassess your priorities, redefine your goals, and invest in your personal development. Growth is the ultimate antidote to despair, a path that allows you to transform pain into progress and reclaim control over your life. Redirecting your energy toward growth does not mean ignoring or suppressing the pain caused by betrayal. Instead, it means channeling the energy of those emotions into constructive actions that lead to a better version of yourself. It is through this redirection that you regain a sense of purpose, rebuild your confidence, and emerge stronger from the experience. The first step in redirecting your energy is to acknowledge the emotional turmoil you're experiencing and use it as fuel for change. Pain, anger, and disappointment, when harnessed effectively, can serve as powerful motivators for self-improvement. These emotions often carry a surge of energy, and rather than letting them spiral into destructive behaviors or thoughts, channel them into pursuits that align with your values and aspirations. This could involve setting new personal or professional goals, adopting healthier habits, or learning a new skill. By redirecting this energy, you shift your focus away from the betrayal and onto your own growth, thereby taking control of your narrative. This process allows you to transform the hurt into a stepping stone for a brighter future. A critical aspect of redirecting your energy is focusing on areas of your life that you can control. The Stoic principle of dichotomy of control teaches us that we cannot change the actions or intentions of others, but we can control how we respond to them. Betrayal often leaves us feeling powerless, but growth-oriented actions remind us of our agency. You might choose to improve your physical health by adopting a fitness routine, nurturing your mental well-being through meditation, or expanding your knowledge by diving into subjects that interest you. Each step you take reinforces the idea that your life is not defined by the actions of others, but by your own choices and efforts. Another essential part of growth is redefining your identity beyond the relationship. Betrayal can leave you questioning your self-worth and identity, especially if much of your life revolved around the partnership. Use this as an opportunity to reconnect with yourself, rediscover your passions, and rebuild your sense of self. What hobbies or interests did you set aside during the relationship? What dreams or ambitions did you put on hold? Now is the time to revisit those parts of yourself and invest in them wholeheartedly. Reclaiming your individuality not only boosts your confidence, but also ensures that your sense of worth is rooted in your own achievements and values rather than external validation. Personal growth often requires stepping out of your comfort zone and embracing challenges. This could mean pursuing opportunities that intimidate you, such as applying for a promotion, starting a side project, or joining a social group to meet new people. Growth thrives on discomfort. It is through pushing your boundaries that you discover your true potential. By taking proactive steps towards self-improvement, you shift your focus away from the betrayal and onto the future you are building for yourself. Each milestone, no matter how small, serves as a reminder of your resilience and capability. Cultivating gratitude is another powerful way to redirect your energy toward growth. While it may seem counterintuitive to feel gratitude in the aftermath of betrayal, focusing on the positive aspects of your life helps you maintain perspective and prevents you from being consumed by negativity. Reflect on the things you still have: your health, supportive friends or family, your skills, or even the lessons learned from the betrayal itself. Gratitude shifts your mindset from a state of lack to a state of abundance, enabling you to approach life with optimism and openness. This attitude fosters growth because it encourages you to seek out and appreciate opportunities for improvement and fulfillment. Redirecting your energy also involves letting go of toxic patterns and influences. Betrayal often exposes unhealthy dynamics, whether in the relationship itself or in other areas of your life. Use this moment as a chance to evaluate what is serving your growth and what is holding you back. This might involve setting boundaries with people who drain your energy, re-evaluating commitments that no longer align with your values, or breaking free from habits that hinder your progress. By clearing space for positive influences, you create an environment conducive to growth and self-discovery. Self-reflection is a cornerstone of growth, and the aftermath of betrayal offers a unique opportunity for introspection. Take time to understand how the betrayal has affected you, what it has taught you, and how you can use those lessons to shape your future. Journaling, therapy, or meaningful conversations with trusted individuals can help you process your emotions and gain clarity about your goals. Through self-reflection, you uncover insights about your values, boundaries, and aspirations, which serve as a foundation for your growth journey. Finally, growth is not just about individual pursuits. It is also about building meaningful connections and contributing to the world around you. Betrayal can lead to feelings of isolation, but redirecting your energy toward fostering genuine relationships can help you heal. Surround yourself with people who uplift and support you, and seek opportunities to give back to others, whether through volunteering, mentoring, or acts of kindness. These connections provide a sense of purpose and belonging, reminding you that your worth is not tied to one relationship, but is found in the impact you have on the world.